you doing, everybody? And welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is Monday, June 24th. Supposed to be a decent Monday, June 24th today. Supposed to get some sunshine, right? They're talking possibility of rain later, and then they're talking rain tomorrow once again. So hopefully staying dry. Hopefully, persevering through this crazy weather season that we've had so far, and prayers out to anybody in southern Wisconsin. I know, and if you're listening in Iowa, prayers to you guys too. I mean, the flooding in Iowa is ridiculous. They had some storm damage too going on down there, and I mean, Wisconsin this last weekend, I believe, was 6 tornadoes hit southern Wisconsin there. So hopefully, I mean, prayers to anybody who was impacted by those tornadoes. Hopefully, I didn't really dig into it too much there. I saw where a lot of it happened down near Madison, Janesville, that area there. But hopefully everybody is okay down there. I mean, that there wasn't any casualties to this. It has been a crazy weather season. I mean, I don't want to get too far into the weather here, but we've already had 33 tornadoes in the state of Wisconsin in 2024. The average is 23. So we're already up 10, and we're not even into July yet. We're not even into August. And, I mean, we've seen in the past in the United States some late season. So it is just, I mean, baffling to see. It's crazy. It really is. The weather has been crazy, and, we look for bright sides in all of it, right? We look for bright sides in all of it. And the Brewers have been a bright side. Throughout all the rain and the storms and everything else in between, they have been the bright side to the whole thing for some people. Other people, they're not fully in on the Brewers yet. They're still skeptic. But, everybody, you're going to have your skeptics. People got to be skeptics sometimes. I still am. I still have my worries and my doubts and everything like that. Everybody does. But they're slowly starting to get rid of those, right? It's just people are starting to get nervous that maybe they need to add pieces here and there. So, I mean, we got a little bit to get into today. We got the Brewers to talk about. They had that weekend series with the Padres. We didn't get to talk about the Brewers much because of this West Coast series. Like you guys know, I record night before, release the next day. So I was not staying up until like 11 o'clock at night to shoot a podcast and shoot it out there. So we've been kind of steering away, just talking odds and ends with the Brewers. But I want to get into this last weekend's series there against the Padres. Just look that thing over. Some of the bright spots, some of the spots in it, because they did lose. They did lose the series to the Padres. So lots to go over there. I got some tidbit stuff to go over all over the place today. So right away, let's get into the tidbit stuff. Let's get into some of that tidbit stuff there. According to one of the reporters out there, I did see that the Bucks are looking to trade Pat Connington for a player who can offer more flexibility in their rotation. Connington earns $9.4 million for the 2024-2025 season, with a player option for a subsequent season included. I just got to be honest with you. I mean, and some people out there, and I'm not going to say that you're wrong in your thinking or anything like that. I'm not going to say that. But, to me, Pat Connington is expendable. And I say that because, is he good in the locker room? Yeah. He's a good teammate and everything like that. But the way that he shot the basketball last year, and very streaky, like we talk about Malik Beasley, and Beasley most likely I saw won't be back to the Bucks. We talk about Beasley being a streaky shooter. This is a streaky shooter here. Little scoring, little of anything, like nothing in the stat book, right? And there's some intangibles that he does throughout a game that don't show up in a stat book, right? I mean, the hustle, getting after stuff like that. That's some of those things that you can't really take away from Pat, but at the same time, you were relying on Pat to almost be like a seventh man for you, an eighth man maybe, depending on how you wanted to look at it. And he never developed into that. He was more... I got more out of Andre Jackson Jr. and Beach Camp coming in than I did out of Pat at times. And that's an issue, especially for a guy making 9.4, right? Because the Bucks, they're kind of strapped for money right now. They can't really afford to go out and sign anybody. Not any bigger name guys. They're going to be bottom of the barrel dudes. which is fine. You have to fill the roster, so you're going to get some of them bottom of the barrel guys, right? And you're going to open up some space in the room, but not a lot, right? And this could be a contract that if you could get rid of the contract, it would be great. I don't think you will. I think if you do trade Pat, you're going to have to eat some of that contract, maybe 3/4, maybe half of it, right? Maybe half of it you might have to eat just to trade him away there. Or some team might see a bright spot in him. There's multiple different ways that it could shake, right? And I just, thinking about it, looking over what he did last year or this last season for the Bucks and what I kind of expected out of Pat, those were two different things. And what the Bucks needed him to do versus what he did. I mean, you're talking about a guy, 20 minutes a game, he was averaging 4 points. 4.5 points. He was averaging rebounds, 3.8, 2.2 assists, 1 steal, 0.2 blocks, 0.5 turnovers. He wasn't, at 20 minutes of play, he was giving you relatively not a lot. I mean, you're talking, we want to compare streaky shooters here. Malik Beasley in 21 minutes a game, he was averaging 8.8. Or 5.6 for Connington. My mistake there. 5.6 for Connington there. Beasley was averaging 11.3. My mistake there. I was in the wrong stat column. I was looking at the postseason versus regular season. Had to flip back a little bit there. So in the regular season, that was postseason play. So that tells you what they were doing in the postseason there. Still a good stat to know when you're looking over these two players. But you look at the regular season. You're talking about Beasley in 29.6 minutes per game, 11.3. You're looking at Pat Connington in 22 minutes per game, 5.6. Right? And in that same facet, 3 rebounds per game for Connington there and 2.1 assists. Not great. Not great stats. Not for a guy that you're almost paying $10 million to and you're expecting to be a contributor off the bench for you. And he's not producing, right? He's not producing for you in the facet that you need him to. And defensively, it's not like he's bad. I'm not saying he's a bad defender, but he's not an over-the-top great defender, right? If you wanted over-the-top hustle defender, you have Andre Jackson Jr. currently sitting on your bench. Like, that guy gets after guys. So if I'm just keeping Pat Connington for his hustle defense, I have a guy for that. I have Andre Jackson Jr., and he's making not even a quarter of what Pat Connington's going to make. So, some people might say, yeah, we need to bring him back. He's a heart and soul, everything like that. Sure. If that's how you want to play it, that's how you want to play it. But what I'm saying is that stat-wise and player need-wise, I don't need him. I don't. I really do feel like the Bucks could replace him in-house with Andre Jackson Jr. and be fine. They could. Even a guy like Bieshkamp coming in, you could find ways for those two to contribute in there over time. Or even A.J. Green. Right? A.J. Green, 4.5 points per game, and he played way less than Connington there, 11 minutes per game there, and 4.5. Scoring you just as much, right? And rebound-wise for Green, he had 1 rebound per game there, half an assist per game. You can replace that talent in-house. That's a move that I was talking about Brook Lopez possibly being traded and how that might not be a bad idea for the Bucks. This is one that I don't think would be a bad idea for the Bucks, is moving on from Pat Connington there. So that's just a little bit of Bucks. Like I said, the NBA draft's coming up this week here. We're going to get more into the NBA draft as it gets closer. Maybe we're going to see some prospects that stick out to us. We'll get into that as the week goes on here. But with that, I got to stay. We're going to go over to football now. We're going to get into the NFC North talk because I've seen a lot of in this. If you get on Facebook, if anybody out there has Facebook, right? Everybody's got Facebook. If you don't, well, you don't. Some people get annoyed by it. I have it just to research, see stuff that's going on out there, post to the Facebook page and everything like that. And in this NFC North Trash Talk Cave, it's called. It's where everybody goes to talk trash about other teams and, start heated debates, right? So they went out and they said the top 5 most overrated players in the NFC North. Okay. And if you had to guess, who would be your guess for your most overrated player in the NFC North? You might have one in the top of your head right now. The one that they stated was Jordan Love and there's a lot of comments underneath that were like, yeah, I completely agree with you, like, da 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 da. And it's like, okay, I don't think Jordan Love is overrated. I think that people might be jumping, and I'm not going to say they're jumping the gun. Because I believe there is a talent there with Jordan Love. I feel like he is a great talent. I do. I think he's a great talent. But there's a lot of fans out there who are already stating, like, oh, the Packers, they have 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row now. They, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, I get it. You have another great quarterback in the room now. It seems like a good quarterback in the room. So right away, some fans are going to jump on it like, oh, yeah, we got another Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, we're the best in the business at drafting quarterbacks and everything like that. I mean, could he develop into being that? I truthfully believe so. I really do. I think this guy has, from what we saw last season, the second half of the year, if that's the Jordan Love that we're going to come to know and to, appreciate and watch, I truthfully believe that he could develop into being just as good as what we saw with Aaron Rodgers, maybe even better. I'll be honest. And that's tough. That's really tough. And some people might have just rolled their eyes and said, dude, what are you talking about right now? How are you already saying that Jordan Love is going to be better than Aaron freaking Rodgers, right? That was the guy. I mean, come on. We evicted Brett Favre off the island for this guy. He was the best in the business. He's a bad man running tables. And it's like, okay, I get it. I'm not telling you right now that Jordan Love will be better than Aaron Rodgers. What I'm saying is I think he can be. For the simple fact of the only knock I always had on Aaron Rodgers was trust. He never trusted everybody. Plain and simple. We saw it, prime example, with Christian Watson. He dropped that first pass against the Vikings to start the year. Rodgers never looked back his way. We look back to the 49ers game. The last one that Rodgers played in, right? He had Alan Lazard coming across the field wide open with daylight in front of him. What does he do? Double coverage, throws it to Davante Adams. No, nothing. Incomplete. The guy had major trust issues. And he wasn't going to utilize all of the weapons in the room. He never was. He was looking for one guy. That was his guy. He was looking for his guy. And then after that, he was going to go through a little bit, but he was always looking for that guy, right? I feel like when I watch Jordan Love, it's never about that one guy, right? And maybe it's because he's still young, and maybe it's because the receivers are young, and nobody was really into that fold yet of being the guy, right? The guy in the room. Romeo Doubs, Watson. Nobody developed into being the dude that we need to go and throw the ball to like Davante Adams ended up as, right? Or Jordy Nelson, right? Or, you look around the league, Justin Jefferson with Kirk Cousins. That seemed like Kirk would always throw it to him, right? He's always throwing it up to him. And, you could go with Larry Fitzgerald for a while. You have talents. You have talents, and you're going to throw the ball to them, right? You're going to try to get your playmakers the ball. And that makes sense, right? I'm not going to say anything against it. But what I've seen is some of the best quarterbacks that have ever done it, they spread that ball around, right? You look at Tom Brady, right? Yeah, Julian Edelman was his big dog, and so was Gronk, but Hogan was in there, right? And he wasn't afraid to fire it into Hogan, right? Wes Welker wasn't afraid to fire it in there. That's what I think kind of separates some quarterbacks out from others. It's not definition of greatness, right? Because Aaron Rodgers is still a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm not saying anything against Rodgers. But when I look at the two guys, if Jordan Love continues on this trajectory where he trusts and he knows that he has to work with these receivers and he has to gain their trust, they need to gain his, they need to work together. If he throws the ball to them and they drop it, it doesn't mean they're the worst thing that's ever happened. They have the ability that, hey, maybe it's a little off right now, but maybe we go back to it. Maybe we find you again, right? Give you some other kind of route. Maybe you were running an out route. You're running a corner route, right? And maybe it was a tough pass to catch. You dropped it. Should have been caught, right? But you dropped it. Maybe the next time around it's an in route, right? A little easier to catch, right? Not over top of the shoulder. Now it's a little bit out in front of you, right? A little easier to catch. So you switch to something else. It's one of those things where when I watch Jordan Love, that's the big thing that I take from watching this guy. Not his throwing accuracy, it's pretty solid. The only thing that always made me nervous with him was his he likes to loft the ball. And I guess I'm so used to watching, one of my favorite quarterback of all time is Brett Favre. And if you guys, I'm on a podcast site right now because you guys can't see all behind me here, but I got a clock of Brett Favre. I got pictures of Brett Favre. I got all kinds of crap Brett Favre. I mean, Brett Favre will be my favorite quarterback. And, watching him, it was a gunslinger. He was a gunslinger. Watching Mahomes, I mean, he kind of goes both ways with it. Love just makes me nervous at times because he lofts it a lot, right? And there's some balls where it's like, I wish you would have gunned it in there. Maybe he completed it, right? But I wish you would have gunned it in there because maybe if the safety would have read it different, right? And that's in the big if, right? If he would have, but it makes you nervous. So that would be what maybe some people are knocking him on. Right, but outside of that, I mean, you look at the decision-making. Outside of that decision he made late in the 49ers game, and you know what? You're talking about a guy in his first year running the team. He's in San Francisco. He has to now lead a game-winning drive, right? Maybe they shouldn't even have been in that situation if Anders Carlson knocks down the field goal, right? But you have to lead a game-winning drive now. It's different. It's different, and some quarterbacks, I would say, the Joe Burrows of the world, the Patrick Mahomes, like those guys, they're like a different breed of guy, right? I mean, their mental capability to go out there and we're going to make plays, we're going to make this thing happen. Like those guys are different, and I think Jordan Love can work his way there. I just think, in that moment, he just got a little bit flustered. His mind was racing at a mile a minute, and he was trying to catch up, right? And he was trying to make too much happen. He had the timeouts, he had the first down, he had everything else in between, and he just ill-advised, right? So where that season started to where it ended, I think that shows the building of this team, the building of Jordan Love throughout it there. So when people, because I've seen a lot of people out there talking about Jordan Love's overrated, Jordan Love isn't going to be this, he isn't going to be that. How about we wait? Because I am seeing all over Chicago and all over everywhere that Caleb Williams is a franchise quarterback and he's the next this and he's the next that. I hate to break it to you, Chicago. Actually, I don't, because I dislike you people down there. Southsiders are okay. North side, that's where it gets rough, right? The Cubs, the Cub fans, the Cub Bear fans. There's nothing worse than a Cub Bear fan, right? If you're a Cub, if you're a Bear / White Sox fan, you're right? You're not good because you like the Bears, but you're not because you like the White Sox. You almost feel bad for them. If you like the Cubs and the Bears, I don't care. Like, whatever. You just chose life that way. If you like the White Sox and the Bears, you're like, I feel bad for you because the White Sox suck and the Bears also suck. So, like, I feel bad for you. If you ever want to come up to Wisconsin and cheer for a real team, we'll take you. We'll take you in, okay? Maybe. We'll check you out first. But, I mean, so Caleb Williams is a prime example of this whole thing. Oh, well, he's only done it for half a season. Well, he's not... Caleb Williams hasn't even been in the league yet. All right? He didn't lead USC to shit. Like, okay, did he have some good stats? Yeah, he didn't lead the stats. Look at all the stats. Look at the stats from last season in college football. He did not lead any of the categories, right? He wasn't like he was... Michael Penix led categories, and Jane Daniels led categories, and Bo Nix was up there. And, okay, so all them guys are just going to be these Hall of Fame franchise quarterbacks just because they outperformed Caleb Williams, who's supposed to be the next dude in the NFL? No. show me something first, right? That's what everybody's saying with Jordan Love. You got to show me it for a year. You got to show me it against good teams, right? Good teams. Okay. He'll show it to you. Show it to me, Caleb Williams, right? They loaded up his offense, right? Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, right? Backfield. You got a good running back there. Swift's back there now. You got a good defense. The offensive line, but that's where the fun might come. Because you got this loaded up wide receiver core now. You got weapons across the board. Chicago's talking about this big old season they're going to have. Show it to me. Show it to me. Because as much as you feel like Packer fans never will accept you doing anything, it's because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it in a while. You show it to us, we ain't going to say, we're not going to give you a high five. We're not going to tell you good job. We'll accept it. We'll move on, right? That's the difference. That's the difference, right? Because when the Packers suddenly do good, everybody's like, oh, it's just a fluke. It's just a fluke. They're giving them calls. They're giving them this. They're giving them that. And it's like, when the Bears suck, well, it's this guy's fault, or it's this guy's fault, or let's just keep changing head coaches until we hope something happens. Maybe. Or maybe it's the way you guys are ran, right? Maybe it's the ownership. Maybe it's the GM. Maybe it's the way that this place is ran that's causing you guys to suck every single year. But all in all, until Caleb Williams proves something to me, how are we calling Jordan Love overrated? Because if we're already hyping up Caleb Williams to be the next greatest thing, how is that not an overreaction too? I don't know. Next up on the list, Christian Watson. He's injured all the time. We've accepted that he isn't that, nobody in Green Bay is saying Christian Watson is comparable to Justin Jefferson. Nobody in Green Bay is saying Christian Watson is comparable to Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill. We've just said that when he's back, when he's there, the speed is there. The ability to go get the football is there. That's all we've said. We haven't said this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. We have just said this is a solid guy when he's out there. I don't think we've claimed that any one of these guys in the wide receiver room are as good as what we've seen in some of these other teams, like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. You could say Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. I don't know Keenan Allen much anymore, right? Because he's had injury problems. But nobody has stated these guys are that good, right? Nobody. You guys are just over here just reading one article and then making crap up. Jair Alexander, this guy hates the Packers. I don't know all these people that are in these comment sections blowing up about this list and agreeing with it, they hate the Packers. Because next up on the list is Jair Alexander, right? All I can say that's bad about Jair, well, first off, he's kind of a knucklehead. But secondly, the dude can't tackle. That's it. He can't tackle. He flails his body. It actually hurts me to watch him tackle a guy. It would actually hurt for him to tackle somebody. So that'd be the only thing I could say about Jair, is he can't tackle. Otherwise, dude's a great corner, right? I fail to remember, but I'm pretty sure that game against Justin Jefferson, when they let him go mano-a-mano, Justin Jefferson had a bad game, right? So just going with that. Then they got Quay Walker on there. I don't think anybody has really hyped up Quay Walker that much. I don't think so. And then Jared Goff at the end of that. So I'm proving he's not a Lions fan, or he's not a Lions fan or a Packer fan, because he just crapped on 4 of the Packers and then Jared Goff ended there. So I'm gonna guess. My guess is this guy and these people in the comments all are Bear fans. That's all I'm gonna say. So with that, sticking with football, top 10 head coaches in the NFL, this list baffled me. So number 1 on the list was Andy Reid. That's good. Fine and dandy there. Next up, Sean McVay. I thought McVay led the 49ers back from the abyss last year and put them in the playoffs. So I thought Sean McVay and what the Rams did last year, he's very good head coach. Kyle Shanahan didn't win the Super Bowl, but hey, he got him there, played a pretty good season in the 3 spot. Mike Tomlin in the 4. I mean, he's consistent 500, but we've talked about this. Never much more than that. So Mike Tomlin in that 4. John Harbaugh in the 5. Ravens had a good year last year. Dan Campbell in the 6 with the Lions. I could see that one. Dan Campbell and the Lions played pretty well last year. Jim Harbaugh comes in the 7 spot. Has not coached a game in the NFL yet in a long time. He did back in the day, but hasn't coached one in a long time. He's our number 7. Number 8, Kevin Stefanski. Took Joe Flacco, made the Browns good last year. Okay, great. Number 9 is Matt LaFleur. Number 10 is Doug Peterson. How is Matt LaFleur not above Jim Harbaugh? That's my question. I could see if you wanted to say Kevin Stefanski was better than Matt LaFleur, just because of what the Browns did last year with the defense and losing their quarterback like 14 times over again, and now you're relying on Joe Flacco, who was dropping his kids off at school when he found out he was coming back to the NFL. So I could see maybe Kevin Stefanski, but Jim Harbaugh above Matt LaFleur, that baffled me, right? Would you put him above Dan Campbell? I don't know. That's a tough one. Dan Campbell led his team to that NFC Championship game there. Ended up losing. So the way that he turned around the Lions, that's tough. That's tough. But the way Matt LaFleur turned around the Packers, eerily similar, right? And, I mean, 2 minutes of that 49ers game, that was bad, right? Outside of that, in all reality, outside of those 2 minutes, the Packers should have won that game. And you can sit there and tell me, no, they shouldn't have, but outside of those 2 minutes, the Packers beat the crap out of the 49ers. The Packers had that game for all of it, except for the last 2. That's it. So, I don't know. To me, putting Jim Harbaugh up at 7 baffles me. I would leave Dan Campbell in the 6. I wouldn't have Mike Tomlin as 4. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're going to do anything, John Harbaugh is ahead of him. I mean, the way that the Ravens have been trending. And, I put the Lions above. I'd put Dan Campbell above Mike Tomlin right now, to be honest. And then I'd have Matt LaFleur. If he's not ahead of Mike Tomlin, he's right below him. I'm not putting Jim Harbaugh that high on the list. Dude's got to coach Justin Herbert first. He's got to coach this Chargers team first. For me to say top 10 head coaches in the NFL right now, I have to see it, right? It's the same with Caleb Williams, right? You cannot rank Caleb Williams in the top 10 or top 15 quarterbacks in football right now because you haven't even seen him take a snap at the NFL level. It's different. It's different than college, right? Jim Harbaugh was a good college coach. He was good in the NFL when he was there, right, with the 49ers. He was good. I'm not going to say he was terrible, right? But you got to prove it to us again. You can't just get thrown onto this list. So I thought this list was kind of baffling to me when I saw it there. Kind of baffling. And there was some things I would have changed, but all in all, what can you do? It's a bunch of dingleberries, probably Charger fans making this one up here. So with that, I want to get to the Brewers now. But before we get there, I want to mention some sponsors of the show here real quick. First, Game Day Supply in Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether it was at work, whether it was, playing softball, baseball, you were out there golfing, whatever it was, you were injured and you need some physical therapy. Stop in there and see Chad at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. He'll get you right. He'll get you back to the course, back out on the field, back to work, whatever it was. He'll get you back there. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. Sports Scene, Sports Cards, Memorabilia, located in the Marshfield Mall in Marshfield, Wisconsin. You got to get down there this summer. Tons of sports memorabilia. Between cards, jerseys, model stock cars, everything your hobbyist enthusiast needs down there, you got to see Al down there. Sports Scene in Marshfield. Marshfield Motor Speedway is located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. You got to get down there this summer. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. Nothing better. Marshfield Motor Speedway is there. Pittsville Farm and Home Center, located in Pittsville, Wisconsin. You got to get down there soon. I mean, they have tons of sales going on, tons of flowers. They have all your tools, everything you need down there. Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin. And also your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy Sue or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell, find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield there. But with that Brewer talk, we got to get to the Brewers here. We haven't recapped games in a while. It feels like forever since we've recapped some Brewer baseball. So we got to recap this last weekend's schedule there. And it wasn't a great series, right? It wasn't anything that you want to brag about there, but Brewers drop the series to the Padres. It wasn't due to the offense. The offense put up runs. I mean, we're talking a lot of runs. I mean, 11. They had 11 between the first two games there. They had 4 in the game on Saturday there. 15, 21 runs over the weekend in total there, and still ended up losing the series. So that tells you that the Padres bats got hot over the weekend there. Looking at the Thursday game, Brewers lose 7-6 in that one. A walk-off in the ninth. Brewers got 2 in the top of the ninth to tie it. Ended up losing it in the bottom of the ninth there on a Jake Cronenworth walk-off home run. Yoel Payamps was the losing pitcher in that one. Estrada got the win. So looking at the lines in that one, Turang 3 for 5 in that ball game. Turang continues to swing a hot stick for the Brewers. Look at him over his last 7 games, a 344 average. Over the last 15, 262. But, I mean, this guy over this last little week here has been swinging a hot stick for the Brewers with that, like I said, that over 344 average there. He's got 2 home runs in that 7-game stretch there. And, I mean, 8 RBIs. This guy was producing over the weekend for the Brewers. So Bryce Turang has a good weekend there for the Brewers. Contreras 0 for 4 in that matchup. We saw Yelich go 1 for 4. Adames 2 for 4. And then we saw Bowers 1 for 1 in that game. Hoskins 1 for 4. Joey Ortiz 1 for 4. Bryce Wilson, he struggled. He struggled in this one. 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 3 home runs given up there. Bryce Wilson, I mean, we look at him in his last outings here, and I mean, it has been a little bit of a struggle in 2 of them. We're looking at the game against the Padres there, 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And then Cincinnati pitched well. I mean, 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. But game before that against the Tigers, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. So in those we're looking at the last 3 games there, we're talking 12 earned runs. 12 earned runs for Bryce Wilson. So not a great little stretch here for Bryce. Hopefully we see some bounce back coming back here pretty soon. Jared Koenig in that one, inning and a third. He has that ERA down to 1.85, 1 strikeout, 0s across the board. Milner for an inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 strikeout. Blake, he came in then for an inning and a walk. Pretty good outing out of him in his first one there. And Payamps, 2/3 of an inning there, 1 earned run, 1 hit, 2 Ks, and that home run giving up the walk-off to Jake Cronenworth there. That Brewers, they dropped that series opener 7-6 to this Padres team. And the Brewers, it seems like we mention this all the time, and it gets exhausting, but 2 for 11. 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position, 11 guys left on base. That's going to lead to trouble. That's going to lead to trouble there. And, I mean, if you're leaving that many guys on, if you can't find ways to produce runs or produce hits in those situations, you're going to end up with box scores and run totals that aren't pretty for you. So that leads us into Friday's game there. Brewers dropped that one 9-5. Padres go off late in this one. I mean, we're talking Brewers had a 4-1 lead in top of the fifth there, and then 2 runs in the bottom of the fifth for the Padres, 2 runs in the bottom of the sixth, 3 in the bottom of the seventh, 1 in the bottom of the eighth. That was it. That was all the scoring they needed. They completely lighted up. Jake Cronenworth has a big game there, and the Brewers just can't solve it. 15 hits for the Padres, 11 for the Brewers. Turang, 2 for 5, good day. Yelich, 2 for 5. Adames, 2 for 5. Those guys kind of paced the offense in this one. 15 strikeouts for the Brewers. 15 strikeouts. Colin Ray, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 home runs, giving up. The home run ball continues to be a problem for the Brewers pitching. Home run ball continues to be a problem. Jared Koenig, 2/3 of an inning there. 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, continues to dazzle for the Brewers. We saw Milner for a third of an inning there, 2 earned runs, 2 hits. Not a great day for Milner. He took the loss. Paguero, 2/3 of an inning there, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And then Paredes, 1 inning, 3 hits, 1 earned run for him there. So Paredes gave up a couple in that one there. The Brewers in this one, 5 for 15 with runners in scoring position in this game here. And I mean, not a bad day. 5 for 15 isn't terrible, right? But when you're giving up 9 runs, when you're giving up runs like the Brewers were over the weekend, and it doesn't help. Like I said, the Padres got hot over the weekend. I mean, this team was hot when the Brewers got them there. Between Jackson, Merrill, and Machado, and Tatis in the first one, and Jake Cronenworth, they were just swinging the bats at will, and the Brewers just could not find ways to get them out, right? And that's something that's not very characteristic to the Brewers pitching staff. So Padres found a way. They found a way in this series. Game 3, Brewers lose that one 6-4. Padres do a 4 in the 4th and 2 in the 7th, and that paced them in this one. Brewers got 4 in the 9th there on a Turang grand slam. That was it. That was it for the Brewers. Could not get anything else mustered. Turang, 3 for 4 in this one. He had the grand slam, 4 RBIs there. Outside of that, not a whole lot happening. Tyler Black goes 2 for 4. Joey Ortiz, 2 for 4. Everybody else, those were the guys that kind of paced the Brewers in this one. 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Not a lot of traffic, guys getting past that first base bag in this one. Did not help that Turang got picked off a couple times. They're trying to steal in this one. Carlos Rodriguez, 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, 2 home runs given up. The home run ball bites another one in this one, and that was Rodriguez. You watch his start, you watched him there, and just a couple of ill-advised spots, right? Leaving stuff hang, leaving stuff over the plate. And it would be, he's cruising, doing just fine. He was rolling right along. And then all of a sudden, it was just he'd miss with that sinker, or he'd miss with this. And Padres didn't miss. They didn't miss in this series. And that came back to bite him there. We did see Jacob Junis return to the Brewers in the bullpen role. 3 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, and a home run given up. Not terrible for his first one back, but it definitely did not help the Brewers' comeback efforts in this one. We did see Paredes for an inning and a walk there, so Paredes does get the Brewers out of a little bit there. But Brewers, they leave 7 guys on base. In this one here. And, that came to bite them there. So 6-4 finish in that one. The Brewers did pick up the win on Sunday. They got the win on Sunday. 6-2 was the final. They got 5 in the top of the second inning, and that paced them for the rest of the day there. Added 1 in the 7th. Outside of that, Padres scored 1 in the bottom of the 5th and 1 in the bottom of the 8th. And that was behind another fantastic outing by Tobias Myers. If we ever want to, we're looking for silver linings in everything that's been going on. Tobias Myers, he has just 2 earned runs in his last 25 1/3 innings pitched. 0.71 ERA. So looking at what Myers has been doing as of late has been nothing short of fantastic for the Brewers, and a huge help when the Brewers need it there. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts. A solid day out of Myers. And one of those strikeouts came in a huge spot when the Padres were threatening, and Myers was able to strike out Machado there. So good stuff from Myers in this one here. And he kept the Brewers right where they had to be. You look at the rest of this game, the Brewers scored runs, but the starters could not get the Brewers and keep them in games, right? Could not keep them in that, having the lead, right? Tobias Myers did a fantastic job in this one. Brian Hudson did what Brian Hudson does. This guy needs to be on the All-Star. He needs to be on the All-Star team. He really does. If he's not, it is a crime against bullpen pitchers. 2 innings, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, has that ERA at .86. This guy completely deals. And he's not like he's a crazy hard thrower. It's just funky. It just gets her done, and this guy gets outs. And this is a guy that needs to be in the All-Star game there. So Brian Hudson, great stuff. Yoel Payamps, an inning there, 2 hits, 1 earned run. And then McGill for an inning and 1 strikeout there. Shut it down late in this one. Not a save, but shut it down. Brewers in this one, they go 4 for 13 with runners in scoring position there. Left 7 guys on base in this one. Bryce Turang 1 for 5. Black 1 for 2. Churro went 2 for 2 coming in late there. Contreras had the day off in this one. We saw Perkins go 2 for 4. We saw Frelick. He went 2 for 4 in this one. Frelick was swinging a hot stick in this game here against the Padres. Over the last 7, he's 273. Over the last 15, he's 298. So Frelick continues to hit the baseball for the Brewers. And ain't much better. Ain't much better than what he's been delivering for this Brewers team. Outside of that, like I said, we went through the stats there. 4 for 13 with runners in scoring position in this one for the Brewers. And, you look at the weekend series. Would you have wanted to go other ways? Yes, 100%. But you're gonna have weekend series like this, and it's going to be a struggle, right? So, how do the Brewers bounce back from this? Well, they get a little home cooking. That's something that I believe is going to help the Brewers out here. They come back home. They're going to have they have the Cubs coming to town this next weekend here, but they have the Rangers first. And this is a Rangers team who, it's not like this is the Rangers team we watched last year where they were dealing and just completely, doing their thing against other teams here. But, it's a solid Rangers team, 37-40. Good team overall. Michael Lorenzen will get the ball for the Rangers in this one. He has a 4-3 record, 3 ERA, 72 innings pitched, 53 hits given up, 50 strikeouts, and 30 walks, 10 home runs given up. So this guy gives up the long ball. As we see in this one, he gives up the long ball. Looking at some of their batting leaders for this season here, Corey Seager leads them in home runs with 14. Josh Smith leads them in average, 303 average, and Marcus Semion's still around, 43 RBIs on the year and that 252 average. So those are some of the guys to watch out for there if you are the Brewers heading into this one here. But this is a series. Come back home. Brewers need this. They need a little home cooking here. You wish you had an off day. You aren't going to get an off day. They do have one Thursday though before they face the Cubs, so that'll be a big thing for the Brewers there. So a big series coming up here for the Brewers. You look at this last weekend, I was just doing the math there of runners in scoring position, 13 for 43. The Brewers were with runners in scoring position in this game. We gotta improve that little facet of the Brewers game there. The runners in scoring position has been a problem and will continue to be a problem for the Brewers. Hopefully it starts to flip the opposite way and the Brewers are able to muster across some hits, find ways to drive guys in, especially when their bases loaded. I know they're one of the worst teams in baseball with the bases loaded. So with that, that's about all I got. That's about all I got for today. Brewers, Rangers in action tonight. 7-10 start for that one. Should be a good one. Great stuff. Great stuff all the way around. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin.